Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Whitney Modoni. If you are new here, be sure to subscribe. What? Today I woke up with so much psych, so much energy. So of course I have to share my good, loving energy with the world. And I have really been wanting to get back to this topic. I actually talked about this a few months ago when it was trending. But it still bothers me, so I went out there and I did my research, and I wanted to know, why is it that we have so many teenage pregnancies in Kenya? You know, teenage children pregnant. I call them children because there was a girl who was 10 years old who gave birth. 10 years old. Like, every time I think about it, I don't understand. When this girl is 20 years old, she will have a child who is 10 years old. You know. And my question in this scenario, in this situation, is why is it that right now no one is really talking about it? The government, what did the government do about it? What is child services doing about it? These are children, you know. Who is protecting our children? So I went and I as I said, I was doing my research. I had a Zoom call with a few friends and we talked about this at length. And these are a few of the points, you know, of the reasons and the solutions to this pandemic. Because this is another little pandemic that we're facing. But unfortunately, things like this like to be swept under the rug. And I'm not going to allow that to happen, because these are our girls. This could have been me. You know, like, this is crazy. When I think about it, I'm like, no, this could be my little Ari. Oh, my God. No. So anyway, I asked the question of what is our government doing about this situation, and this is the one response that I got from a person who is in our government. To be honest, I don't even know his name, but I think it's on the video. Politics dash. But yeah.
Wewe msichana, wewe unakuwa mchinga, unatungwa mimba, dakika mwisho unaitwa mtumba, unatubwa na yule kijana na yule chama anachiendea. Wewe ni mchinga. Na mimi ningependa kuuliza, nani mwenye nguvu? Mwenye kuombwa au mwenye kuomba? Sasa kama wewe msichana ndio unaombwa, si ukatae, si uambie chama yuko hapa, lakini wewe silamba, kwani yeye hako ni shareholder. Yeye si shareholder. Ningependa kuuliza wewe msichana ukiwa mahali pa kaa naye.
Alright, so when I saw that video, it was sent to a family group, and I was outraged. I was so upset, and a lot of people didn't understand why I was so upset. But it's because in this video, this guy is out here talking to these girls, you know, calling these young girls stupid, yet not once did he address the men and the boys who are responsible for getting these girls pregnant. And I think that is just the problem to begin with. Like, let's even start with that number one problem. Lack of accountability and victim blaming. These are young girls, right? We just had a girl, again, I'm gonna say this again, who was 10 years old. Are you telling me that a 10-year-old girl is supposed to have the knowledge, yeah, as you said, to keep her legs closed, to know her virtue, apparently? It bothered me so much, because why aren't the men being called out? Why aren't these boda guys being called out? And why are they being held responsible for getting all these young girls pregnant? That is statutory rape. Yes? A man who is above the age of 18, sleeping with any girl younger, 17 or below, should be in jail. Right? But I don't hear of these people being put in jail. That's abuse. Yet nothing is being done. Nothing is being done. So for me, I will start with number one being victim blaming, right? And lack of responsibility, right? Lack of accountability on the end of the men here and the boys, right? So number two, lack of education, right? So a lot of, in African culture, the conversation of sex, you know, between parents and children is quite uncomfortable. And I mean, it's uncomfortable all over the world, but here it's on another level. So parents don't teach their children about sex because they expect them to learn about it in school. And then teachers don't teach the children about sex because they expect them to learn at their homes. So it trips me up because at the end of the day, it brings the question as to how old do you think that we should start talking to our children about sex, right? Because if there's a child who is 10 years old who just had a baby, don't you think that she should have had some type of information, like that would have maybe saved her this? There's so many things going through my mind about this scenario that I can't even begin to start like putting it out. But at the end of the day, we need to start talking to our children about sex. We need to start letting them know. We need to teach our young girls to, protect themselves. Don't let boys touch, even if it's the young parts and you show them that these are the no-nos. Don't let anybody at any time touch these places, and if they do, you come and you tell me. Those are the lessons that you need to teach our young girls and our young boys as well. And we also need to teach our young boys how to treat girls, because I can assure you, if you teach those young boys the consequences, if the actual consequences, and you teach them about these consequences, I'm very sure that they're going to grow up to be responsible men who can be able to walk around and see girls just being girls without abusing them, without taking advantage of them. It starts from the beginning. And it's terrible when I see parents making these excuses that you treat your girls one way and you treat your boys in the other way. It doesn't make any sense when you allow your boys to start dating at a younger age, but you want your girls to start dating at an older age. It doesn't make any difference, because at the end of the day, you've gone and you've told this boy, go out and find yourself a girl. And then on this other side, you find the parents are like, no, you're not supposed to be going to those boys. Stay away, right? So you need to teach these children the same lessons, right? You guys, stop with the double standards. Stop with the boys will be boys. You need to hold boys responsible for their actions. This narrative of, oh, he's pulling your hair, he's beating you because he likes you. No. No one should put any hand on each other. Those are lessons that we need to start teaching our children from the beginning. Number 3, economic empowerment. A lot of these young girls are having sex with these older men, with these older Boda guys for money, right? They think, okay, I'm in the house, I don't have a job, I'm not in school, I need to get some money. If I sleep with this guy, I will get money. They don't think about the consequences because they don't have the education, right? They just think about, I have a problem right here and this will solve that problem immediately. They don't think about the long run, the consequences of these things, They don't think about the fact that at the end of the day, only the girls are being talked to, only the girls are being shamed, only the girls are being left behind with these, with the children to take care of. And the guys just go scot-free, So things like this need to change. We need to teach our young girls out here in all of Kenya that they can be able to make a life for themselves without it coming from a man, without it coming from a sponsor. This sponsor culture really drives me crazy because I don't know when it began and it became such a trending thing. It seems like it's such a good thing right now that girls don't even want to work hard for themselves anymore. They just feel like, oh, don't worry, I'll find a rich man who's going to come and take me out of my poverty. And they don't learn how to work hard and they just live complacent and useless. It is our responsibility to change that narrative, So that's also something, right? Toxic masculinity. Like I had mentioned that before, but toxic masculinity starts from the time that they're young. You have to teach these boys their responsibility, and you have to hold these men accountable when they are asleep. If you are a man who is 20 and above, and he has a friend who is dating someone who is 17 and below, it is your responsibility to call them out. It is your responsibility to tell them that they are in an illegal situation. There's no way, there's a reason why we are supposed to have sex when we're 18 and above, because there's a maturity that comes with age of understanding. Some people are just doing, we're just already in a hookup culture. So it is time for people to take responsibility. As a guy, check yourself. If a young girl has a crush on you and you're older, you put it aside. You say, well, I understand you're a beautiful girl, but you need to be with a guy your age. Don't take advantage of these young girls. Because that's what keeps on happening everywhere we go. I had that happened to me even when I was young. I had a situationship with someone who was 10 years older than me. I was 16, he was 26. The nerve of him. And now when I look back, even having a conversation with this guy gets me disgusted, because I think about what kind of person are you that you took advantage of a child who was like in adolescence. I was growing. I needed to learn things, and I needed to learn things at my level, not from somebody older. And that needs to change. I said it. Someone needs to say it. You need to say it. Anyone who sees this video, when you see that situation, you call it out. When you see a guy being sexually abusive, when you see a guy talking inappropriately to girls, when you see them catcalling and disrespecting women, call them out. Because the reality is, when men, especially when we see men in little hurdles, you know, when they're with each other, that's when they feel like they can disrespect ladies. A lady is passing, minding her own business. Like, we have to greet men just because. It is time you guys took responsibility for your own actions. It is time men took responsibility for their own actions. It is time men started teaching young boys how to treat women. And it's time men started checking themselves. Like this nonsense of saying that the girl was raped because of the fact that of how she was dressed. What about the 3-month-old child that was raped? Who did she provoke? What lust did she bring out? What was she wearing that made this man feel like he couldn't help himself, that he raped this young baby? What about that old woman in the village who raped by a man? For what reason? It is time men took responsibility for their actions. You're not animals. And if you're acting like animals, you need to be treated like that. You castrate them. If someone is found raping, if someone is found as a pedophile, you castrate. There needs to be consequences. Oh, it's riling me up. What? Okay. Lack of healthcare, access to healthcare, right? So that means that they don't have contraceptives. People don't even have money for food. When are they gonna buy condoms? Or when are they gonna buy, like pills or all that? On that level, even that, there needs to be like free, what do we call it? Reproductive health in Kenya. So that in situations like this, a lot of these pregnancies could be avoided with the use of a condom or with the pill. Because a lot of these girls, they know that they're sexually active. There's something that they could have done about it. And it's very important that they learn that they have choices. A lack of engagement. Like, clearly right now, since this is 2020, clearly no one is going to school, especially the young kids, the young children. Meaning they're at home. They have a lot of time on their hands. They're just watching TV. They're learning about sex from porn. My gosh. Even movies right now, everything you just watch is violence and soft porn. That's now television right now. Every other show on Netflix, on Showmax, on... The world is a crazy place right now. And it's time we found out what our children are doing. It's time we made sure we know who is in their lives, who they're spending their time with. It's very, very important. Like, we live in some crazy times. There's a lot of like scary, crazy people out here who are trying to take advantage of children. Just the other day, I came across a video on Instagram of an older man in his 50s who was meeting a young boy. I think they pretended to be a young boy, and he was out there in a restaurant. He's sitting waiting for this young boy, and it just broke my heart to feel like this is happening all around the world, but I need to call it out here in our country, because we can't just be talking about what those people are doing out there. We need to talk about the people here. Hi. And last but not least, just the same thing I said, right? Like, just we need to watch. What are they watching at the end of the day? What are the children watching? What music are they listening to? What movies are they watching? Like, all that really does affect them. We don't even realize it. Yeah, the way the kids are there and you're playing and you're teaching them the music videos. Are you watching inappropriate music videos and expecting your children not to want to do those things that they're watching on TV? Language. I've been watching like shows PG-16, and I'm like, my gosh, this is how a 16-year-old is supposed to be talking nowadays. Like, it's crazy to me. And people can say, oh, labda ni mtiaji, oh, no, we can't just keep on letting things just keep on, they're just extreme and another extreme and another extreme, and we are in a world of being desensitized that things like that don't shock you. If a child uses the S word or the F word right now, it's not surprising, you know, especially in America. Don't even get me started with that. But that is inappropriate language. That's not even how human beings are supposed to be talking. It has taken me so long to like reset and go back to not cussing. And you know what? Imagine you can just talk and express yourself quite fine without using all those words. I learned that, and I'd forgotten that. You know, people just, I'm just expressing myself. It's cathartic. You know who you are. But no, let's not. Yeah? And now the last one is about these older men. You know, maybe there's lack of counseling that is happening out here. Yeah, a lot of people, like, this is clearly a cycle. This sexual abuse has been happening for a long time to both young boys and young girls. And in return, when things like this are not dealt with, they just become a cycle, right? So, for example, let's say I was sexually abused as a child, right? I didn't know how to deal with it. There was fear of talking about it. I'm not saying this didn't happen to me, but I'm saying, so I'm giving you a scenario. And so I don't talk about it to anyone, and I repress it, and you move on. You grow up thinking everything is fine, and then one day you don't even realize it, and you find yourself doing that to maybe your child or someone else's child, and you don't even know where it came from. And a lot of people just say, oh, that's just the devil. That's the devil. And it's so important to get counseling. It's so important. Like, psychological help, mental health is just as important as your physical health. So guys, get checked, check yourself, you know, it's so important. We all play a part in what is happening in our nation, in our country, in our world. So this is how we need to begin. So I hope this video will help someone out there. And guys, feedback. Tell me what you think. Tell me if there's something I've missed. What have I missed? What have we missed? And what more can we do? You know, I want to talk to the young girls, but what do I even start telling them? Anyone out there, ladies, please tell me, as a young girl, what would you have liked to learn that you had to learn by yourself? You know, those are now the lessons that I would like to talk to our young girls and teach them, you know? Because clearly, asiyefunzwa na mamaye hufunzwa na ulimwengu, and the world is just rough when it teaches you these lessons. So let's just try and make a difference, right? It all begins with you and me. So thank you for watching. Stay tuned for much more. I hope you followed me on Instagram, on all the social media. I will post my handles all around. And yeah, so keep it locked.